Welcome to the Life, Love, Everything podcast. I'm your host, Tasmin Bota. And today we are talking about a topic that's very close to me. Why? Because it's my current situation. Yep, we're talking about being a stay at home mom. Now, in the media of late, especially social media, stay at home moms have been doing the most. First and foremost, we've got so many awesome influencers out there, which has opened up the world to see what life is like being a stay at home mom, and that it isn't just, you sitting at home, chilling, watching TV, catching up on your favorite episodes of whatever it is that you like, and eating snacks all day. And to be quite honest, I think I also fell into that trap of believing that it's so easy being a stay at home mom. Well, let me tell you, this is not my first stint at being a stay at home mom. Um, as you guys know, I have three beautiful boys, and my middle son was born prematurely. And so when I had my middle son, I decided that it was in his best interest for me to stay at home. And luckily, my husband was able to afford me that opportunity. Now, here's the thing. I have found that my two different stints, because I did go back to work after being with my Preemie for 2 years, and I shortly after that fell pregnant again. Continued to work though, had my baby. The pandemic happened, but I was fortunate enough to still be able to go to work. And then something happened that was beyond our control and left us in the situation whereby we had no childcare for our two little kids. And so again, I had to make the decision of staying home with my boys. And I don't know what it is, but the two different occasions have been totally different experiences for me as a stay-at-home mom. And I think with the first one, I didn't find it as overwhelming because, to be truthful, I was running on pure adrenaline. From having my baby come so soon to a million follow-up appointments after discharge, that I was just doing what needed to be done. I also think another thing that factors into it is that my first son and my second son have a huge age gap of 7 years between the two of them. So my eldest son was quite independent already when I came home with my Preemie. Now this last stint, my middle son and my last son are quite close in age. There's a 3-year age gap between the two of them. And I found myself immersed in the stay-at-home mom thing. And just the sheer load of having to run a household and to keep your children alive is a lot. It just is a lot. And it took me a while to find my footing. But with that, I lost myself. I have lost myself in motherhood. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not necessarily a good thing. And so for the first year, I've been home now. It's going on my second year. For the first year, I struggled. I struggled with the physicality of it. I struggled with the emotional side of it. I struggled with not having a life, not having friends, and not having family to depend on. It was literally just my husband and I, and my husband was working most of the time. So essentially it was me. I am the primary caretaker and primary caregiver of my kids. And with that came up more issues for my Preemie. And so we started that whole journey again of having a million doctor's follow-ups. So navigating that with managing both my eldest and my middle child's schooling schedules, because yes, my middle son ended up going to preschool, which in a way did help. He only goes for half a day, So like 4 hours out of the house. But even just the sheer PT of getting him done in the morning, and getting both boys ready for us to go and take him to school and then come home, like I found it quite a struggle. And I've eventually now found some sort of a schedule that seems to be working for all of us. And of course, my baby is now a little bit older, and so he's able to independently play now, and he doesn't need my attention all the time. And of course, yes, a big factor in how hard it was to manage everything was I was also an exclusive pumping mom. So I was pumping every 3 hours for nearly 3 years with my youngest, who just turned 3 a few months ago. And so I was just exhausted, absolutely exhausted. And of course comes into play the default parenting thing, right? We've all been hearing it, we've all been seeing it on social media and all of that. But the truth of the matter is it's real. And your children just automatically drift to the parent that they are with all the time, right? Which is me. Even when my husband is here, even when they can ask my husband for stuff, they choose to ask me. I have to actually say to them, but guys, dad is here, ask dad to do this. And I think for a while, we even both fell, my husband and I, into the trap of, okay, I'm the one that's home, I'm the one that does everything. That even when the kids would ask me for something and he was here, like, it wouldn't register to him that, oh no, I can do it. Thank God we've passed that, because I had to, be like, I need help when you are around. And look, I'm definitely not bashing him. I understand he's got a lot on his plate. And I mean, with the way the economy is going on at the moment, having someone stay at home while you're working is just not feasible financially in this current economic situation that we have. But also we both know that it has been in the best interest for our kids. It's ended up working out that I am able to take my preemie to all his specialist appointments. I am there to monitor his growth. I am there to work on the things that need to be worked on. So it has worked out. But that doesn't take away from the fact that when you are a stay-at-home mom, you become invisible. Like, that's just how it is. You lose contact with friends. You end up losing contact with family. Conversations with your old work colleagues end up fizzing out, and you find yourself alone. And like, for a very long time, I struggled with it. I struggled not having contact with other adults. And the only time I would have contact, and which is still a large part of the case at the moment, is when I go and I take my kids to school, or I go and I watch my elder son playing his sports matches, or when we go for hospital appointments. Those are really the only times that I do get to have adult interaction. And so I had to find a way to cope. I had to find, because I found myself, firstly, I had a lot of time to look back at my life. And so, like, for that first 1 year, I basically went through my whole life and dissected it into a million pieces, which, opened up my eyes to a lot of things, but also at one point was really, really, really not healthy, because I was dwelling on a lot of hurt and a lot of trauma. And I had to find ways to cope. And, some of that was actually listening to podcasts. I started, it kind of felt like having conversations with other people. And I had to just, focus on being more than just a mom. And so I've been pouring a lot into my business. And, but even with the stuff that I do, or with Preemie, sometimes it gets to be a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because you're always in that state of, there is something or someone or that needs help. And so sometimes it does become overwhelming. And again, because of the isolation, I don't have somebody to talk to. So I must say, like, podcasts and social media, it has helped a lot. to have some foot out into the outside world. And, just we give stay-at-home moms like no credit. Because when I think that from the minute I wake up, literally until the minute my last child goes to bed, I am needed by somebody. It is my responsibility to take care of whatever need it is that they have. And sometimes you feel like, but who's taking care of my needs, and who is looking out for me, and who is checking in on me? And when I tell you about the sheer volume just of the work alone, and how it just never, ever, ever stops. Like literally, there is always something to do throughout the day. And to be quite honest, I don't even watch TV at all during the day because there just is no time to do that. The only time that we get to watch any sort of television is at night when we're laying in bed, my husband and I. And usually we are both so exhausted. We're lucky if we can even get one episode of something in. But we try and do that just to like switch our brains off from the sheer volume of the day. Basically, that's what it is. But I just want to take my hat off to stay-at-home moms because, without you, there would be no one to run the household. And this is not to dismiss working moms, because I have been on both ends of the spectrum, and I realized that as a working mom, like I missed out on so much. And those 3 hours at home with your kids before they go to bed is really nothing in comparison to when you are with them all the time. Because I have been witness to so many great moments for my kids, moments that I'll never ever get back. And so that is the plus side of being with them all the time. And I do, for the most part, enjoy being their safe place. I enjoy being the one that is there for them. I enjoy them knowing that they can depend on me no matter what. They never ever have to question, will mom, can mom. They just know mom will be there, mom will show up, and mom is going to positively reinforce us. And I'm glad and I'm blessed and I'm happy about that. But I just want society to understand the amount of sacrifice that you as a person, as a mother, as a human being, as an individual, have to give in order to be able to pour into your children's cups. And I thought, as my kids got older, things would get easier. And I've just found, firstly, jokers on me. It doesn't get easier. You just find a different way of juggling it all. So I currently have 2 in school, and I can tell you that on some days, it's a lot, because they have such different schedules. Sometimes I'm fetching one, rushing to go and pick up another one, or the other one has a game on and I have to go and watch that game. And I enjoy watching the games. We absolutely love it. Myself and the 2 younger boys, we are my eldest son's biggest cheerleaders, and we love being able to watch him and support him and cheer him on. But sometimes these games are happening when it's nap time. So try navigating that. Or sometimes my eldest is at school until so late, and it's trying to navigate now my husband and I schedule in order to make sure that someone is able to go and fetch him at such a time. And of course, let's not add that in South Africa at the moment, we are going through the worst power crisis that I think the world has ever seen. Okay, so half the time we do not have electricity. And so it's navigating that schedule on top of all your other schedules. And it's a lot, man. Oh my goodness. So I just want to say that, if you have a friend that is a stay-at-home parent, check on that friend. Because chances are they are feeling so alone. They are feeling like no one understands them. And as stay-at-home parents, we feel like we have to overcompensate, right? Because we are not providing financially to our households. And so we feel like we always have to go, 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 go. When in actual fact, it doesn't have to be like that. And if you do have an understanding partner, like how I do, which I know, like, for a lot of people is not the case, we work our schedule out in a way that, you are getting a break. No matter how short a time that is, because also social media will have you believing that having a break and having self-care is going to the spa, doing your hair, doing your nails, things like that, which are great. And trust me, I love going into my hair because I never ever have time to actually do it. But, it's in the little things. It's in the little things. It's in being able to just sit and have a cup of coffee by yourself. I have found myself when there are mornings when, especially on the weekend, my little ones don't wake up at the crack of dawn. But because it's so in me, I do. And so I get up and I'll go and sit downstairs and I'll just enjoy the quiet and I'll enjoy having a nice hot cup of coffee. And if they continue to sleep, I actually might decide to clean so that I don't have to do that when they do wake up. But and my husband has been great in allowing me to work on my goals, work on my dreams. But again, everything has to be scheduled. It's scheduled around everybody else's schedules. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would love it. I know that in the beginning, at least, I think now I've come to terms with, where I am in life and where my friendships or relationships with people who I thought I was close to is. For a lot of people, that's something hard to navigate. And so I'm saying, check on your stay-at-home mom friends. They need a break. They need someone to talk to. They want to be seen because at the end of the day, they are still people. Outside of motherhood is a whole human being who had hopes, who had dreams, who wanted to be something and has put it on pause and has put it on hold in order to ensure that her family is good and that her family is straight and that her kids are well taken care of. So if you can, pick up that phone, just check in, send a message, or better yet, roll up with some coffee or, I don't know, a takeaway. Cooking can become so mundane when you're a stay-at-home parent. But whatever it is that stay-at-home parent in your life you feel would be beneficial to them, and I can bet my bottom dollar on it that they would appreciate the gesture, no matter how big or small it is. But do it. Just do it. Because, being lost in the world of staying at home sometimes isn't nice, because you can go for weeks without seeing other people. Like I said, if it wasn't for me having to take my kids to and from school or to doctor's appointments, I would literally be in the house all the time. And there have been times where like if there's school holidays or stuff, for that duration of the time, there's no need for me to go outside of the house, right? Because whatever we need in the house, it's just too much work to go with 3 kids to the store. I'd rather ask my husband to pick up whatever it is that we need. So even to just go to the store, and that's another topic that we will be discussing about being a woman or even a man alone with children outside in this world that we live in is so scary. And so I try and avoid it at all costs. And so, yeah, with that being said, just check on your stay-at-home mom friends. They need it and they'll be so grateful. Thank you for checking out this episode. Catch us again next week with another awesome episode on the Life, Love, Everything podcast. I'm your host, Tasmin Bota.